Hey everyone, welcome to a Thanksgiving edition, sort of which, here on the Fresh Takes podcast, live from the Finger Lakes One studios. Of course, I'm Paul Russo. Across from me, soon to be on your screen, Nick Felice. Nick, how you doing today?
Oh, it's Thanksgiving Eve.
Yep.
Representing my college today. This is the only thing I ever bought in the entire 4 years at this school.
A sick hoodie.
Located near Penn Yan, New York. That's enough about that. It is Thanksgiving Eve.
That is true.
Wait, no, it's not.
It's Thanksgiving
Eve.
Eve.
It is. Eve. Yes, it is. Okay. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving Eve. It's the eve of Thanksgiving Eve. Speaking of Eve, real quick, Paul.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Eve? You got New Year's Eve, you got Christmas Eve, and you got Thanksgiving Eve. If you had to rank them 1, 2, 3, how's it go?
New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yep.
I go New Year's, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And Christmas Eve is a great day. But, I don't know, I just like Thanksgiving Eve better.
You know, I honestly, this would be a little bit of a fun discussion to have, but we honestly have a really jam-packed edition of the podcast tonight for you guys. A lot to get to. We have 7 different topics we'll get through quickly and divert and whatever is possible. We actually had to cut a couple of topics out that we kind of did want to talk about. But with that in mind, Nick, Thanksgiving does tend to have a big sports impact a little bit. You obviously have the Thanksgiving Day football games. We'll discuss that. Big college football games online. We'll discuss that. Obviously, Tiger versus Phil. We got that going on. And some other stuff that we really should be talking about sports-wise that I'm sure you guys might be interested in. Maybe not, but you're along in the ride. We also have some announcements to give you at the end of the podcast we're excited about. So with that in mind, Nick, you ready to jump into the first topic?
Let's get it.
All right. So obviously the Washington Wizards are quite the interesting team in the NBA going on right now. They're falling apart. They're blowing up. A lot of drama going on. Their slow start has obviously shown some cracks now in the armor for the Wizards. Pretty much everyone's available via trade. Some sources have anonymous players coming forward saying it's a lot of the John Wall drama, how he's, kind of wanting to do his own thing, not listening to Scott Brooks, who's a very good coach, a very smart coach. So you have a lot going on with that. And then at the same time, you have a very young team overall that, they pretty much have missed their window, at least at the moment, to compete in the East. And now, obviously, they're buried behind. If they even want to make the big jump forward, you got to go through Boston. You got to go through Toronto for sure. And at their point, they got to go through pretty much everyone else at this point. So, Nick, obviously, I know you with your Knicks, you're paying attention more to them. But from a perspective of the fan here, so a team like the Knicks should swoop in, get a guy like a Bradley Beal on the cheap, and he may not be the guy, but that's a really nice guy to get in on your team.
He is. He's a really nice guy. I don't know him personally, but he's a nice piece to your team.
Playing wise.
Because clearly it looks like Bradley Beal and John Wall do not get along.
No. Sounds like not a lot of people are getting along with John Wall in the first place right now.
Yes, so that team's a mess. They need to blow it up. KD's definitely not going there now. No chance in hell that's going to happen. I think we're starting to look at the Wizards like the Wizards when we were in high school. Just terrible every year.
They're just kind of there. They got, maybe 1 or 2 guys.
What hurt the Wizards is they were at a wrong spot. They were making the playoffs, but not a high seed. I think maybe they got a 4 seed once. So they weren't doing anything in the playoffs.
I'll say that in that peak you were talking about is they still had to go through in their own division. You had the Heat, who were still, LeBron James fueled and Dwayne Wade at his peak fueled. And at the same time, you had the Hawks, who, were a very good team there until they actually had to blow it up. So
it's like they're at that point where they're not a lottery team and they're not a good playoff team, championship caliber team. So they're just there.
Yep.
And this blowing up might get them a lottery team once again, and hopefully they can rebuild. It's going to take a long time, but I think that's for the best for Washington Wizards.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, too, immediately kind of wanted to point the finger at Scott Brooks. No. It's really unfairly because everything, the way it sounds, is he's trying to get something done here. And he's a very good coach. He proved that, in my opinion, in Oklahoma City. And I personally, felt he was unjustly, effectively ran out of there. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I'd feel very much the same way. I'd feel if I'm a Wizards fan and they were to fire Scott Brooks, I'd be upset because this is something that's not his doing. Yeah. He's trying to get this team on the same page, and clearly it sounds like a battle of egos, to be quite frank. You have maybe not so much multiple single egos, but maybe one ego of one person versus the team ego of what they want to do.
Yeah, couldn't agree more on that. Mm-hmm. Do you think these moves are going to happen soon?
Potentially. I mean, I think it kind of depends. Ernie Grunfeld, the GM, he's more or less at a spot now where he's got to think, okay, try and work this out, which the way it sounds, I don't think you'll be able to. Or do you move ahead and blow it up as soon as possible? Because at this point, and you're not extremely deep into a season, but you're at a point where you can kind of already tell the way your season might be going. So with that in mind, if I'm the Wizards, I'd probably be blowing it up ASAP. Maybe I give you a game or two to kind of see what life you guys got left. But if I don't get anything at that point, I start, doing maybe the highest bidder possible for John Wall.
Trade deadline's not for a while, right?
No, it's not for a while, but, it's deadline's not until after the All-Star break, I don't think. So, I mean, obviously you got effectively 1, 2, 3 whole months until then, but
I don't think that team's going to be standing still.
At that point at the trade deadline, you're only really 6 weeks left in the regular season, give or take, depending upon the year. I think this year it's about 6 or 7. So you're right. I think they're at a point where they gotta make a decision fast, and depends what they do, because this was a fun team to really watch at their peak. They just couldn't get anything done with it, and now a lot of distaste for each other. So,
and this is a team that's falling apart. How about a team that is on the rise, Paul?
Oh, I see what you did there with that nice lead-in. Mm-hmm. Because locally, if you're a hockey fan, odds are you're a Buffalo Sabres fan. You're talking about a team on the rise. I personally didn't expect it to happen this year, but they're off to an extremely hot start. At the moment, they're set at 21 games played with 13 wins, 6 losses, and 2 overtime losses. But the main key thing in hockey, the way they do the standings, is points. They got 28 points. That puts them third in the Atlantic behind the Maple Leafs and Lightning, who were expected to be there. But the coveted thing with hockey playoffs now, because of the way the divisions are, the top 3 in each division get locked in, and then there's 2 wild cards. So that puts it obviously at 8. And the Sabres, they keep up. They may not be gunning for that wild card anymore. And, for a team where you thought this was a rebuilding year, for fans who probably on the whole thought this was a really big rebuilding year, now you've got your eyes set on the Stanley Cup playoffs. And like I said with the NBA, the NHL is in the same spot. You're not really deep into a season, but you're at that point where you kind of tell what your team's going to give you. And this team's really doing well for themselves. Points leaders going into tonight. Obviously, Jack Eichel, the main piece of the future. But Jeff Skinner, a really nice addition. Jason Pominville having a resurrected year. The main guy I'm focusing on, Kyle Okposo. There we go. Always trip up a little bit. Battled some health issues, really big health issues over the past couple of years, and he's come back really good and really strong so far this year. In addition to, in my opinion, their goalie play has been really great. Carter Hutton coming over from the Blues. A lot of people are questioning that deal, and now it's looking like a really good one for him. He's been the goal for 15 starts, 16 games total, 9-6 on the year, 1 overtime loss. He's done really well so far, in my opinion. Nick, I know you don't pay attention to Midwest hockey as much as I do, but for you, you're a fan of the Rangers when you do tune in. Your team's rebuilding, so if you look at this for you, you're probably a little bit upset given the fact that the Rangers kind of were trying to do a similar thing, in my opinion, to the Sabres. But for you Sabres fans, what's your take for them moving forward?
The difference between the Rangers and the Sabres. I can't believe I'm talking about hockey, but
I mean, it's one of the
they
big
have a
topics
superstar in Jack
to.
Eichel.
Yeah.
We don't. Lundqvist is old.
You do. It's Vlad, and now it's Nemasenkov.
Yeah, no. But Lundqvist is old. He ain't the king anymore. But the Rangers are playing all right. I've seen some of the scores. They're winning once in a great while. They're hanging in there. The thing with the NHL standings, what I notice, is the standings are awfully pretty close.
Yeah, right now it's very
there's
tight.
There's not any teams running away with it, really. Maybe Tampa Bay.
No, they're not even first. The Maple Leafs are first in the Atlantic right now.
It's been a while since I've seen the standings. But I have seen it that the middle teams are pretty close. Not a lot of teams are really out of it.
No. Nobody's out of it really yet. I mean, you look at in the bottom of the division for the...
it's good for Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the Bills make the playoffs last year. If the Sabres can have a nice year here, how about the Buffalo Bisons and basketball might be a decent squad?
They're the Buffalo Bulls, Nick.
The Buffalo Bulls? Who are the Bisons?
The AAA team there.
AAA team.
For the Toronto Blue Jays.
Maybe they're going to have a big year this year, but I think Buffalo's on the rise here. I mean, there's been talks that the football team was going to go to Toronto. That never happened yet. But I think Buffalo fans need this. When's the last time the Sabres made the playoffs?
That is a great question, one that I did not anticipate having to deal with right now. So I can look it up quick.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I can look it up quick if you'd like.
I think it was high school. My high school. And I am 23 years old. So 6 or 7 years ago. I just remember a lot of Sabre fans in Minders Academy. That's where I went to high school. We're learning a little bit about my background here, but it's been probably a while for the Sabres. I think it'd be good for Buffalo. I think it'd be good for the NHL. And the thing with the NHL playoffs, it's a lot different from the NBA.
Yeah.
Because you just get in those playoffs. You never know what could happen. They could make a run. Heck, you know what? I'm on the Sabres bandwagon right now just talking about it. I don't think they're going to win, but I like to believe that they could. And, Paul, you could take over anytime here.
I was going to say, because you kind of paused there, the last time, you were right, Nick, the last time the Sabres made the playoffs was 7 seasons ago.
Okay.
In the 2009-2010 season.
All right.
So,
technically
it's 7 when you go by the listing, but... But you bring up the standings, and that's a good point because the Panthers, who are in last place in the Atlantic Division, have 19 points. So that's 11 points separating top to bottom in the Atlantic right now. Really? So they're pretty much all on each other. And it's the same thing for the Metro Division as well, where the Blue Jackets lead. The Rangers,
Or the Rangers.
Their rebuilding year.
What place are they in?
They're in second place in the Metro right now.
Yeah, I knew they've been hot.
24 points. But they're the same way. 26 points for the first place team, the Blue Jackets. The Penguins, surprisingly last in the Metro, have 18 points at this point.
Yeah, and the Capitals haven't been playing that well. And what's up with Vegas?
Yeah, the Vegas Golden Knights, they might have a little bit of a hangover drought, but every division's really close outside of, I'd say, the Central at the moment. The Pacific Division is led by the Flames. They have 25 points. The Golden Knights are second to last in the Pacific, 19 points. So
they're right there.
Yeah, you hit it right on the nose for hockey at the moment. They're all right on each other. It should be a really fun.
I do like Nashville.
It should be Nash Vegas, baby. It should really be a fun and exciting season for hockey. So
long way to go.
We'll shift gears. And speaking of long ways to go, the season is officially over in NASCAR. Joey Logano takes home his first Cup title in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. It doesn't hurt for me. I don't really hate anybody anymore.
He was one of your least favorites in the fall.
Back in the day when Jeff Gordon was racing, yes. But, the race was really good. No really, I guess, big cautions to really stir things up for the WWE fans out there. But Yeah, so Logano took home. He had really the best car all weekend at Homestead, Miami. Really, I think the only person who would have been able to challenge him for the win, Kyle Larson, decided to wall the car by riding the high line all day. Wrecked out. He didn't wreck out, but he ended up laps down after hitting the wall halfway through the race. No for you, Nick. Not the big NASCAR fan.
But I have a couple questions.
Go fire away.
I didn't really get to see the race, but I want to know.
Yes, go away. Go ahead.
So, out of the four of them,
Yes.
what place was the second guy?
Second place car was Martin Truex Jr.
What place did he come in?
Second.
Oh, he did come in second.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said Kyle
No.
Larson.
Kevin Harvick finished third
Really?
in the standings in third position on track. And Kyle Busch came in fourth place in the standings. I think he was fifth in the race. Could have been fourth, though. I'm trying to
Really? They were all up there.
Yeah, this is actually the first time since they moved to this format that all four drivers finished in the top five. So,
Yeah.
really interesting.
I was going to say something else, but I forgot. But
That's okay.
So NASCAR is over.
Yep.
So Kyle, so this is Joey Logano's first championship. I just really want to remember what I had to say, but
It's all right. Sliced bread or something like that, probably.
yeah. So this doesn't bother you that Joey Logano?
No, not really. Not as much as it would have if it was back in the day, probably. The thing is, because being a Jeff Gordon fan since he retired, I'm able to look at it from, I guess, the broader scope now. And a lot of these guys effectively have the same personality. Like, it's a lot of, in my opinion, if you say, well, I don't like Kyle Busch and you're a Logano fan, those two guys are effectively one and the same, the way they drive and the way they present themselves. And, are there differences a little bit? Yeah, but effectively, a lot of these guys who the people, general fan base don't like, and they like that, say, a driver and that, whatever, you're all one and the same pretty much when it comes to drivers. Harvick, Kyle Busch, Logano, Keselowski, those guys are all one and the same.
All right, I remember what I had to say.
Mm-hmm.
So who had the best pole position out of the four going into that race? Was it Joey Logano?
It was Denny Hamlin won the pole.
Out of the four, though.
Kyle Busch started second.
Interesting. Now, the real question is, Jimmy Johnson, will he ever get back into this the final race? You think he can get back?
Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't he?
What's wrong with him?
It was a down. So this answer may bore you and the listeners, most of them, but he drives for Hendrick Motorsports, their Chevrolet team. Chevrolet switched bodies and makes of the car going into this season, the 2018 season. They went from the SS model, which they discontinued in production, to the Camaro ZL1 body. Chevrolet struggled mightily throughout the year, really, as a whole. Not just any organization specifically, but as a whole, they struggled trying to get a grasp on this car. Trying to get through. NASCAR had a new inspection system this year. Everyone really struggled with that, but Chevrolet specifically because of the new body. With all those factors in mind, performance-wise at Hendrick, this was their biggest down year that I can really remember. Outside of maybe, as a whole, 2008. But even then, you still had a lot of good cars going for them at that point. And then you also had the fact that Lowe's, his longtime sponsor, Lowe's Home Improvement, left after Homestead from sponsoring. Chad Knaus, it was announced halfway through the chase that he was moving on. He's moving to crew chief William Byron, his teammate at Hendrick Motorsports.
Really? So he lost his crew chief and his logo and his sponsor?
Yes. I will say this. Overall for him, it was not a good year. If you were to tell me going into the year he wouldn't have won a race, I would have laughed at you. But you got all these things considered, and it happens. I mean, it happened to Jeff Gordon. In 2008, he didn't win.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Jr. went on this years-long streak where he didn't win. Tony Stewart didn't win for a year and a half. It happens. Denny Hamlin this year also went winless. I mean, I know he's not as good as Jimmy, but he's a big name in NASCAR. He went winless this year as well. Chase Elliott, and you look at these other guys too. Chase Elliott was winless for his first few years. Kyle Larson was also winless this year. I mean, it was one of those years where it was dominated by guys and organizations and teams who just knew what they were doing. So it's one of those things. You look at Gibbs. Kyle Busch had all but one win for the organization this year. You look at the other win was for Eric Jones at Daytona, and Daytona's always, not to knock Daytona or Talladega for the racing and producers, but it's always a crapshoot. There's no, in my opinion, true favorite, really. So
we expect out of Bubba next year. One last thing.
Yeah, Bubba for me is kind of one of the guys I root for now. Bubba Wallace, Blaney, I root for too. Bubba, Richard Petty Motorsports is not what it used to be, obviously, in its heyday. But
J.J. Yealy big year next year?
No, unfortunately not. Bubba, I think there will be some improvement, obviously, but you can only get so much out of your equipment. But at the same token, I'd anticipate him getting a few more top 10s, top 5 or so. He runs really good at these restrictor plate races. He tends to keep it clean, keeping those clean, which is what you need to do in order to finish first. You need a first finish. That's kind of the adage. Finished second, obviously, at the 500 for his first race this year. So I doubt he'd get a win, but I'm hopeful he obviously does. He runs really well at Bristol and Dover, too. Just a matter of getting the car underneath him. So that's what I got for that.
Yeah.
Your boy Austin Dillon, you never know.
It's going to be a name. I truly believe it.
He's already kind of a name. So with that in mind, we'll go to what the people truly want, Nick. Football talk.
Football. We don't talk about that.
But we're not starting with the NFL this week. We're going to the NCAA first this week.
Big week. So
the playoff 4 remain unchanged.
So
yes, I know. I didn't. Jim Sankrovi told us not to really talk about it, but we got to. All things considered, a little bit here, at least on the football side. Definitely not the game I was expecting out of Syracuse.
It's all right.
I anticipated keeping it close. And Notre Dame, man, I'm telling you, that team is going to be a problem. After seeing it officially firsthand like we did on Saturday, and I bought into the hype, and maybe Syracuse, obviously, I feel like I said this anyway at some point during the year. This was a game that Syracuse should have lost, and they did, obviously. But all things considered, experts thought this game was going to be close. I think on game day, the only person who said it wasn't going to be a close game was Corso. I think Desmond Howard picked Syracuse as a superdog pick. So, but
if they just beat Pittsburgh, your prediction of 10-2 still could have been in the works.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nuts how that, during that one homer rant. That's right, yes. But 9-3 looking really. Nope, wrong camera. Sorry about that. But 9-3 looking more realistic. I think they should beat BC this week. But
where's the game? Boston College.
Yeah, it's at Boston College. But all things considered with that game, Syracuse was just never really in it. It's so weird how their defense was so bad yet so good in the red zone, to some degree. On the same token, Notre Dame kind of, on some of these trips did mess up in their own right, but It's really weird how the defense stood up in the end zone. Dungy was only in for 3 drives, and other than that was DeVito. And DeVito didn't play too bad at all. I thought he played good, just the offense couldn't get any traction going. Wideouts dropped passes, bounced off, and got picked off a couple times. Notre Dame, Ian Buck, again, just playing absolutely great football. 23 for 37, 292, a touchdown and a pick. Dexter Williams ran the ball exceptionally well. They were using, which I thought was interesting, and I think that's something key moving forward, Brian Kelly using Brandon Wimbush, as a running back. He rushed the ball a few times for 44 yards, but it gives you a new option at offense, especially in the playoff where say you beat Clemson and you get to Alabama. And that's something you can even use against Clemson. It's that new envelope that they haven't maybe fully been expecting. Sure, you can scout it a little bit, but you don't know until he actually gets out there where it's book under center and Wimbush next to him. You don't know what's going to happen. So, Nick, as a happy Notre Dame fan, quick take from you about the game.
Well, I'm not happy yet. It's a nice win, but we need one more. There's still work to do, and I'm nervous. This USC team is trash, and we killed them last year. But it's still USC, and it's still the final game of the regular season, and it's still at USC. And the rivalry might not be the same, but it's still one more win, and they just got to come to play, and they should be in the Final Four. Next week could be the week after that, I should say, should be really interesting about that whole Georgia-Alabama debate.
Yeah.
If Alabama loses to Georgia.
It is shaping up to be in the championship game, the quote-unquote, as I call it, playoff game,
it would
the play-in game.
Be really something if Clemson, Michigan, Notre Dame all went out and Georgia beats Alabama, and then what? It's like, you got to put Georgia in, right?
Yeah.
It'd be Alabama SEC chance, but you're going to take what if it's like a close game, lose by one, you taking Alabama all after that? And what about Michigan? Really hot? And you can't put Michigan in over Notre Dame because Notre Dame beat them head-to-head.
No.
And Clemson's undefeated, so it should be something.
Oh, wrong thing. I jumped out of there.
It should be something. But going more towards this week of college football, I think Syracuse just needs to – they need a bounce back. They don't want to be still thinking about the last game because really, that was really the one game all season Syracuse wasn't in. They were in that Clemson game. They were in that Pittsburgh game, obviously. This is a team. When's the last time they went 9-3? Probably a long time ago.
Definitely not in my lifetime.
I know Nassib had some.
Yeah, Nassib had an 8-4 and a 7-5.
Even Greg Paul is, I think, at a 7-5 season.
I think that was like a 4-8.
I thought he had a good year, but
look, as much as I was excited about that year, let's not go back to it. Some other games quick to touch on before we look ahead a little bit.
Game
day. Well, we'll get to that in a second. But the game day game from last week, if that's what you were referring to, UCF absolutely dominated Cincinnati.
You happy about that?
No, because that was our game day. That was ours, Nick. It should have been ours. Anyway.
Where's that this week? BC, Syracuse?
No. Clemson routed Duke. LSU routed Rice. Texas was able to beat Iowa State. Washington State routed Arizona.
What do you think of that Citadel game? 10-10 at halftime.
That was weird. Maybe it shows a little bit of chinks in the armor for Alabama. I don't know.
I can't even imagine Nick Saban at halftime during that game. 10-10 with the Citadel.
He had to have been losing his damn mind. I mean,
they must have got chewed out bad.
Somebody probably died in that locker room, and we just don't know it. Like, that's always the vibe I get from Nick Saban, is somebody's probably dead in there, and we just don't know.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
The other game, Oklahoma State upset West Virginia in a shootout. Oklahoma also shootout, won by a couple possessions over Kansas. Kansas hired Les Miles officially yesterday.
Nice.
The Mad Hatter's back. Should be interesting to see what he can kind of do with that program.
He needs a lot of work.
Really weird. They've had their best year in damn near a decade, and they fired the head coach.
I know.
So that's interesting. Obviously, looking ahead for this week.
But they got a guy like Les Miles.
Yeah, Les Miles is good. Looking ahead to this week, it's a very pivotal week in NCAA football. Not trying to really make up storylines here, but it really is because this week you will have playoff implications on the line. That's a fact.
Well,
there's no way around
State,
it.
Big game.
Obviously. Just some games, obviously, they list in order of when they occur.
Is that game day, Michigan, Ohio State?
It is. Game day is Michigan at Ohio State this week. Mississippi State plays Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving, 7:30 p.m. Obviously, that doesn't really have a playoff implication per se. That does carry a potential New Year's Six game, though, implication for Mississippi State. That could be a team that Syracuse plays. So if you're a Syracuse fan, maybe a game you want to tune into.
That's Thursday?
Thursday night, 7:30, the Egg Bowl.
Should it be the Turkey Bowl?
No, it's the rivalry game. UCF plays South Florida. Implications in the American Conference on the line there. Obviously, a game UCF needs a win over, in my opinion, USF. USF, they have a down year than what they were expecting, all things considered, but still a very talented team that Charlie Strong has there. Big game in the Big 12. Oklahoma goes to West Virginia. That's a 6 versus 13 matchup. This is a game that Oklahoma needs to win for the playoff if they want to get in any way they can.
Yeah, giving up 40 points to Kansas does not help.
Yeah. Pac-12, big matchup out there. 16 Washington at number 8 Washington State. That's the Apple Bowl. That is Friday night. Oklahoma, West Virginia is also Friday night, as well as UCF and USF. So big games going on in those conferences.
Do you think Washington State has any chance?
I'd say it's an outside. They need, in my opinion, it's almost like Oklahoma. You need, I feel like, a lot to happen in order to get there.
Notre Dame needs to lose.
Notre Dame would, I don't even know if Notre Dame loses to
USC. See, the thing with Washington State,
that's a tough.
I don't think Washington State can jump Notre Dame because
I don't think they could either.
Because both their losses is USC.
My thing with the USC game is because people are going to see it as it's USC, but it's a tough thing to do to go out to the West Coast like they have in 2 times in effectively 4 weeks. It's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing for the pros to do, let alone college guys. Obviously,
Washington State
like we've touched on, Syracuse at Boston College at noon on Saturday. Michigan, Ohio State is at noon as well. Game day, like we said, will be there.
Who you like in that matchup?
I like Ohio State. I know they're not the favorites in this at all, but that home crowd. I
like to think Michigan can win, but
I think that home crowd's going to be a factor. I don't think Michigan's they're a really good team. I just don't think they're that great team. You know what I mean?
What do you think of Jim Harbaugh's tenure so far? He needs to get him to a playoff.
He needs this year. He really does need this year.
I think if he chokes again,
I don't think you fire him at the end of this year if he chokes. But man, next year's got to be the year.
Got to make at least a Final Four.
Other than that, game wise for the rest of the way.
What time Syracuse play?
Noon. The Iron Bowl, Alabama, home against Auburn. That game really not as big as it should have been. Auburn's effectively flopped on the year. But that's still a game that Alabama could lose. I mean, those games are always really close.
Where is it?
It's in Alabama, but those games are always really close. So, should be interesting. Clemson is home against South Carolina, the in-state rivalry there. LSU is away against A&M. That's a game LSU needs to have. They're already a 2-loss team?
Yeah.
So they need that if they want any hope if something happens.
I saw the show today. They were saying LSU's basically eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, they need a miracle at this point. And then really after that, Notre Dame obviously is on the road against USC. That's an 8 o'clock game on ABC. And then if you're a chaser, 21 Utah State at Boise State, 23rd ranked, 10:15 on Saturday. So, other than that, in the college ranks anyway, I just want to give a brief shout out to Army. First time they're ranked since 1996.
Really?
Yep. So,
what are they?
23rd. They're not in the playoff rankings, but in the coaches and AP, they're 23rd.
Man.
So shout out to Army. West Point, do some good. However, I will be rooting for Navy when you guys play in a couple weeks. So, with that,
But he gave you a shout out.
Yeah. with that in mind, we will shift ourselves to the pro side of the ball. Week 11, Monday night game last night lived up to the hype. It really did. Chiefs and Rams. Chiefs obviously won 54-51, highest scoring Monday night game. Third highest scoring NFL game ever. First place for that still belongs to our teams, the Redskins and the Giants. Other than that, it was a really interesting week around the Shield. I know I have the Alex Smith injury up there, but first I want to touch on the Steelers-Jaguars game because that was really fun to watch. I shouldn't say fun. The fourth quarter was fun. The Jacksonville offense, I think Blake Bortles is done at the end of this year. There has to be a new quarterback in Jacksonville next year. That offense could not get anything done, and the Steelers were able to come back. Jacksonville defense played game of the season, which is what they needed, and the offense couldn't hold up their end of the bargain. Your Giants, Nick, nice confidence-boosting win. However, I just don't understand what they're doing now at this point in the season.
They beat the Niners and the Bucs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something to go crazy over.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, what are they doing? They
I know.
Get that first draft pick.
But, they're technically only 2 games out.
Yeah,
they're division.
Well, speaking of the division, unfortunately, my quarterback fandom this week was not exactly the best.
Who's the guy now?
Colt McCoy's starting.
And Mark Sanchez.
Sanchez is the backup.
You gonna get a Mark Sanchez jersey?
Absolutely not.
You want him to come into the game.
I wanted Kaepernick, man. Come on. These people. He's good. He's good.
What does Mark Sanchez have left?
I don't know. He was technically suspended the first 4 games of the year this year because of PEDs or something. I don't I don't know what he's got left.
I don't like that Mark Sanchez's whole career is defined by the butt fumble, though.
Well, no, I agree with you.
Good games.
No, I'm with you, but he's good. We just have 2 Colt McCoys on our team now, I feel like.
Yeah. What is Colt McCoy?
Colt McCoy's good, man. He's a solid backup. He torches Dallas though anytime he plays him, so I'm excited for Thursday night. Or not Thursday night, Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
But speaking of Thursday night football this past week, Seahawks were able to beat the Packers. That was a fun game to watch, really was.
It was a good week of football.
Your Detroit Lions picked up a big win over the Carolina Panthers.
Carolina went for it.
Yep. I respect the ballsiness on that one, but if you're a fan of them, you hate that move.
Those type of moves, you always see it's like 50-50. It really is.
The Eagles definitely have a Super Bowl hangover, and I don't think, as I said, they're that good as people think. Blown out by the Saints.
What is up with the Packers?
The Packers? Well, Mike McCarthy needs to be fired or let go of at the end of the year.
I heard something that was like, either Rodgers or McCarthy will not be here next year. If McCarthy is still there and Rodgers isn't, they have a serious problem.
Yeah, it's McCarthy. That's no way around it at this point.
The Saints are damn good.
Yeah, the Saints. They're my Super Bowl pick. They were at the beginning of the year.
I'm on board.
It's a good job there.
They're really good.
Yeah. The Vikings lost on Sunday Night Football to the Bears as much as the Bears tried to give that game away.
What do you think of the Bears?
Wild card team.
You don't think they can?
I still think the Vikings get the division. I really do. But
I don't know. We'll see if the Bears beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. Then it's another win.
So other than that, that's really, I guess, week 11 in a nutshell in the NFL. Anything from the week you really want to discuss quick? Or
I'm excited for some Thanksgiving football.
Well, with that in mind, we'll jump into our picks. How about that? So, as tradition is, 12:30 on Thursday, the Bears are at Detroit for the first Thanksgiving Day game.
Has it ever been the Cowboys' first game?
I don't think so.
I think it's always the Lions.
Yeah.
At 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going with the home team here. The Lions are going to get it done.
I figured you would, but I like how the Dome is going to help on the short week. I'm going to go with the Bears.
I don't blame you.
The Redskins go to Dallas to play the Cowboys. That's 4:30 on Thanksgiving. Give me the Redskins. I'm liking.
Colt McCoy is going to be eating turkey legs at the end of this
game
on Fox. Colt McCoy. You know what? No.
What?
Mark Sanchez is going to be eating turkey legs.
No. If Mark Sanchez is in the game, we have bigger.
Mark Sanchez is going to save the game on Thanksgiving.
Please, no.
But I think the Redskins do win this game.
The Thanksgiving night game, Saints are home against the Falcons.
There's going to be a lot of defense in this game.
No, I don't think so, but should be an interesting game. I'm going to go with the Saints.
Even though Saints defense has been playing pretty well. I got to go with the Saints. I think they could put up 40 again this week.
40 burgers.
50,
the first game listed for Sunday at 1 o'clock, the G-Men go to Philly.
I'd like to think the Giants win this game, but I think the Eagles win this game.
Give me the upset. Give me the Giants.
Really?
Yep.
Last time they were in Philly, the Elliott dude hit like a 60-yard field goal for the win last year.
How about Rojas does it this time for you?
Okay. Make it a 70-yard.
The Jaguars go to Buffalo on Sunday.
We were supposed to go to this game.
Well, you were. I don't know if I were.
Oh. This is awkward. I'm going to go with the Jags are finally going to break the win column again.
Yeah,
but it is not at Buffalo.
Man,
Buffalo could win this.
Part of me wants to really take Buffalo. I'm going to go with that part of me. Give me Buffalo.
I could see it at home.
The Seahawks go to Carolina to play the Panthers.
Give me Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going Carolina as well. The 49ers are going to Tampa Bay to play the Bucks. Jameis is back under center to start the game.
Give me the remote to change the channel.
Jameis is starting under center for them again. O.J. Howard's out with a foot injury for the rest of the year.
I'll go Niners.
I'm going to go Niners as well.
I like that Mullins, dude.
The Raiders go to Baltimore to play the Ravens. Ravens. And we'll go with them.
Joe Flacco not back?
Even then, that's not going to make a difference on my pick.
I like the Raiders.
Well, I respect that.
I don't really like the Ravens right now.
I respect that. I really do.
I think John Gruden's got something going.
I don't know what he's got going, but
I don't know. Raiders.
The Browns go to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. I think this might be your why thing, but part of me just really wants to see Cleveland go in there and just like completely just annihilate the Bengals because Hugh Jackson's a coach there again. So I'm gonna go with the Browns.
Wow.
Yep. There it is.
Hugh Jackson's gonna get his revenge this week.
Revenge game. It's technically a revenge game for both, like really, if you think about it.
Yeah. Andy Dalton is gonna outplay Baker Mayfield. Not too often you're going to hear me say that, but this week you will.
We respect that.
But I could be totally wrong.
The Patriots go to the Meadowlands to play the Jets. New England is my pick.
Yeah, New England just lost the Titans, so yeah. I think they're not going to lose this one.
Start of the 4 o'clock games. Arizona goes to L.A. to face the Chargers. Chargers lost a tough one to Denver.
I think this one's going to be close.
Yeah.
But the Chargers are going to pull this one out.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers as well. Steelers at Denver, 425. These high-altitude games are always weird for Pittsburgh, it seems. But I'm going to...
Ryan Clark back in the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh still, though.
I'm still going to go with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think Bengals will hang around.
Yeah.
Or Broncos will hang around, but... I think Antonio Brown's going to come up big. Or Juju.
My man, Juju on the beat.
He didn't have a really good game last time, so he's going to get a touchdown this game.
The final 425 game, Dolphins at the Colts. Tannehill is back for the Dolphins this week.
Colts have been playing well.
Colts have been.
And I think they're going to beat the Dolphins at home.
I'm going to go with the Colts as well. Sunday Night Football, Green Bay versus Minnesota in Minnesota.
Aaron Rodgers is going to win a big game here. Don't think they're going to get in the playoffs, but Aaron Rodgers, give me him this week.
I'm going to go with Minnesota.
All right.
A lot of question marks with
You
that
still think they're
Packers
going to
team.
win division? Not surprising.
The Monday Night Football, excuse me, you were talking about a game where you might want to change the channel earlier with the 49ers and Bucks. Monday Night Football this week, you may not exactly want to tune in. It's not exactly the best. Titans at the Texans. Obviously, the Texans are good. Tennessee,
I think it's better
you don't
than
know what you're
Giants
going to get with them.
Niners.
I'm going to go with the Texans, though. I think
The Texans
yeah.
are going to win, 8 in a row?
That's what they're gunning for. So,
Titans are not bad, but they're inconsistent.
yeah. So with that in mind, that will end the football talk for today. So we will head into what I call the biggest matchup, though, of the Thanksgiving sports weekend. Tiger versus Phil.
And if you're not familiar with this is Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson.
Yep.
Golf.
So Tiger and Phil are squaring off Black Friday after Thanksgiving. It is one-on-one competition, 18 holes at Shadow Creek in Las Vegas, $9 million on the line. Capital One is a sponsor of it. $20 gets you the pay-per-view. That is actually through Bleacher Report.
Did you hear about the side bets today?
Yes, $200,000.
Who said double?
Tiger said double.
Double it.
So $200,000 on the line on the first hole for a birdie. Obviously, this is quite the interesting matchup. Obviously, for us, nothing we've really seen before, at least in the golf perspective. But it should be fun, should be exciting because you got, obviously, Tiger back on the upswing. I'm not fully sure
What
how
to expect.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more joking around.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that, too.
Competitive, serious.
If I had to pick a winner, I'm going to go Tiger, though. Only because he's just been hot.
I'm going to go Tiger, but they're going to put on a show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be fun. Obviously, it's not something I'm going to buy.
What are they playing? Stroke play?
Yeah. Well, no. I don't know how they're going to do. I didn't pay attention to the press conference today.
Stroke play?
I'm looking match details. It is match play.
Match play.
So obviously it will be a minimum of the traditional one-on-one match play, 10 holes. Oh wait, no, it's not. It is. It's going the whole 18, I guess.
Yeah, but
it's match play. So obviously they could go up at 18, be 9-9 through 18, and have to play, I guess, some sudden death.
I think
golf.
it's going to be some sudden death. I just hope it's not. It's just going to be weird. So they hit it, and then what? They just talk, the announcers?
I guess. I'm not too sure, how it will really do.
I wonder how many fans they're going to get. Because there's only one group, clearly.
Yeah.
It's definitely something else. But, do you think people will buy it?
Oh, yeah, people are going to buy it, but I'm not. I'm going to do what I did for McGregor Mayweather and kind of go through Facebook, and somebody just happens to have that feed up, I'm not going to turn away.
You don't think it's going to be a bust?
No. There are too many people that like Tiger and Phil. I don't think it will be a bust.
The thing with, you could say, there's a lot of people that won't buy it, but golf's a lot popular than UFC. So there's a lot more golf fans.
No, yeah, there is. $20 seems a bit of a stretch given other pay-per-view. Well, I guess it kind of depends pay-per-view what you're willing to pay. $20 for some may seem on the cheap end. Others maybe not. So, Bleacher Report has the prediction at 2-1 Tiger will win. So that's where they stand on it.
There'll be a lot of people gambling on it.
Yeah, it's in Vegas first off. It's effectively, the match was brought up in a gambling way. So this is pretty much it. It's a bettor's paradise type of event. So tune in.
You see, Rory's not watching.
I'm not surprised if other golfers aren't.
Rory's upset he's not in it.
Well, this is something that if you're another golfer, then obviously you're not going to be a fan of because they're getting all the money from this. Yeah. And others aren't. So with that in mind, Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you for our final topic of the night because it is our tradition unlike any other.
It is the SMS. What's that stand for?
Sociedad de Mucho Corso.
Okay, SMS. Thanksgiving morning bocce tournament. You are not going to know who these people are, but maybe some will. So there's 9 teams facing off at SMS Club. Thanksgiving morning, playing a game of bocce. Double elimination bracket. Games to 7. And if you're not familiar how bocce works, it's easy to learn, but it's hard to explain. So it's like this little ball, and you got to get it closest.
The Pauline.
And you got to get it closest to that ball, and you can knock it out. Each team gets 4 balls. So it's 4 teams, 4 people per team, 9 teams. So you can knock it out. Each person gets 1 ball per round, and you play to 7. So you can get 4 points at the most each round. So it could be over in 2 rolls, 2 games. So anyway, there's a lot of good teams. My family's very well involved.
Yep.
There is some debate with my squad this year. The team is called TNG,
the next generation
of bocce players, even though this has been in a long time now.
No, even though it's the only bocce you guys do the whole year.
Yes, it is really the only time we ever play bocce. Now there's me, my brother Matt, and our cousin Jack Drew.
Shout out Jack.
And now there's some debate that my sister Samantha might not play, and our substitution is this guy over here.
Hey, that's me. I'm the general manager of TNG.
Yeah, he's been with the team for 3 years now.
Yes.
We've won a championship.
We have.
As a GM.
Yep.
That was a highlight. Unlike any other, I don't know how we pulled it off and won a couple years ago.
It's simple how you guys did it. It was a cohesive unit effort. You guys were all together on the same page. That's what you need when you. That's how I structured the team. Duh.
Yeah.
Chemistry.
So it starts at 8:15 in the morning. So come on out, watch some great players, get drunk, and play some bocce. There's this Baker team. They're always the biggest threat. They win almost every single year, even though we beat them.
Not this year.
The Marino team, very threat, but they haven't been the same since they've lost the key player, Johnny Marino.
Yeah,
he's a solid player, SMS legend. The Bachman team, trash. Like every year.
Wow.
Because they just come to it hungover. Yeah, I'm saying this right now. They're trash.
Jesus.
Belia team, all right. They're there. The Rook team, just having fun. I mean, I know you guys don't know these teams, but TNG, always a good time. The new Giovanni team, don't know them, but not worried. Who's the other team? Oh, my parents' team.
The Felice
team. Trash. Also
wow.
Trash. They
You're talking a lot of smack already. It kind of gets me worried.
Yes. Our real threat is Baker and Marino, maybe Belia. Maybe. So there's 9 teams, double elimination. Come on out, SMS, 8:15 in the morning, Thanksgiving morning, to about 1 p.m.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Russos are always there.
Yep. We make an appearance, at least, anyway, so it's always fun. Should be exciting.
There are donuts.
You never know. I may be in it this year, which would be really cool.
Make your debut.
Speaking of that.
We did that pretty fast, actually.
Yeah. Speaking of debuts, kind of alluded to it a little bit and accidentally kind of put it up earlier. But Finger Lakes 1 has a hotline of sorts, a call-in that you can call into and give us some questions, some takes, something to talk about. It's really awesome. So the phone number that you're going to call is 866-315-3591. Or, if you're looking at it from this way, it's 866-315-FLX1. So you're going to give them a call. And then when you get the call, you're going to ask for an extension number. You're going to type in 804 for the Fresh Takes podcast. So what you'll do after that, you have to start with your name, where you're calling from. Then obviously, once you get done saying whatever you got to say, you'll be told that whatever you asked or said or whatever may be put on air. So, but it's really cool. And starting next week, well, really this week, we'll see what sports questions we can come up with, Nick. We'll start doing that for you guys next week. So if you haven't already, follow us on Twitter at PaulRusso32, and then Nick at NickyFresh21. Mm-hmm. And one of us or both of us will post a question or a take or whatever, or some topic. We'll have you guys call in. It'd be really cool. Obviously, you got to do it before the podcast. So I'll say before 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. on Tuesday. Get your call in. We'll discuss it, hopefully. Obviously, keep it marginally decent out there for the good folks. Again, though, the phone number, 866-315-3591, 866-315-FLX1. With that takes us to the end of this edition of the Fresh Takes podcast. Before we get out of here, the Finger Lakes 1 high school basketball season is quickly on us. The first game next Tuesday, our alma mater, Nick, Miners Academy Blue Devils. They travel north on 414 to take on the Clyde Savannah Golden Eagles. Coverage will start at 7:20 p.m. next Tuesday, the 27th. So make sure you tune in. I believe Jim Senecropi's on the call for that game. So they're always good. It's really fun. It's really interesting to keep up with. I know at college I was able to keep up with the school a little bit for some of the bigger games. And it's always cool. It's always awesome. It's a really cool feature that I know we didn't really have when we didn't play high school. It's something that we didn't really get when we were in school for, our friends who played. But, it's really cool. It's really fun to watch. So, again, next Tuesday, Miners Academy at Clyde Savannah. Tune in at 7:20 p.m. on either FingerLakes1.com, their YouTube channel, all the other stuff. Nick, toss it over to you. Who is your shout-out today?
Thanksgiving Eve. Our first ever guest on the show was Josh Langley.
True.
I'm shouting out Josh today. He is coming home for Thanksgiving. He's done so much in the Army. He drinks a lot of beer in the Army, but he does so much, and he's coming home. So shout out Josh. We will see you soon.
That's true. And again, guys, that will conclude tonight's edition of the Fresh Takes podcast here on FingerLakes1.com. Make sure you like, share, subscribe.
Eat some food.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope it's safe and enjoyable. Enjoy time with family and
Happy
friends.
Black Friday.
That too. Anyway, like I said, like, share.
Happy Cyber Monday.
Subscribe. Download the app. And we'll catch you guys next Tuesday night after the Myers Academy Clyde game right here on FingerLakes1.com.